April 27th changed lives. I wasn't set to come in just yet. I was following on Twitter and realized, wow, this isn't a normal day at work. So I jumped in my truck, and at the time I lived downtown. I went over the Veterans Bridge, left onto the North Shore. The rain started coming down. It was still early in the day, like you said, that first line had just hit, and right in front of Crystal's, there was a power line down, and I didn't see it until it was almost too late. I slammed on my brakes, and my truck, bad tires, just slid sideways, had to jump a curb to get around it, and right then it was like, okay, I'm awake, I'm ready to go. I mean, it was just like cold water to my face. Get to the newsroom, and it's just all hands on deck. Everybody, people from upstairs were downstairs answering calls. And I just I was like, okay, we're gonna have a long day, and it's gonna be tough. Not a clue. It's just one hit after another. They kept coming and coming and coming, and it got worse and worse. Just trees down, trees in houses. Not as bad as I would see in the coming hours or the coming days. Not nearly as bad, but it still was bad. There were no injuries where we were in Hickson. I saw E.F. Brannon, the roof was ripped off it. I walked inside and looked up. It was a huge sunroof. All the furniture was soaked. We were just bouncing around. I mean, we had no goal. It was stop here, stop there. Do you need help? If not, we're shooting a little video. Is that okay? So we did live shots at 5 and 6, and I remember listening in my IFB to Paul Barris talking about what's going on and where it's going next. And at one point, he had mentioned Hickson, and we're off Ashland Terrace, and it's a feeling like no other, because we didn't know if it was rolling in to over us. And he was telling people in that area to go hide. And it was right before he was tossing to me to do our live shot. And I made it quick, I made it fast. I said, Paul, I heard your warnings. I don't feel safe out here. We're gone. Signing off, be safe. It's tough to be a journalist because your heart just goes out, and maybe unlike some of the families who were unscathed and they're in, say, an area that didn't see damage, we see that damage. We saw roads where people lost lives, lost everything, and it's really hard still thinking about it today. At one point, it was by Ottawa-Ringgold Road in Apison, and you could see the path where it came over the mountain and just wiped out a complete neighborhood. And I remember at one point, I was on deadline and I had something to get done, but I found myself walking down the street, just like in awe still. My eyes were wide open. I had nothing to say. I felt like I was daydreaming. There was an old man in his 70s, if not 80s. You know, he was weathered. He had a gray hair, beard. He's been through a lot. He lived through Vietnam. He fought the Vietnam War. We're talking about a war where almost 60,000 Americans lost their lives. He told me, looked at me right in the eyes and said, that was worse than any day in Vietnam. Speechless. We needed those. We needed those. I think everybody needed those. Watching at home, we want to know, we know that people lost their lives and lost everything, and nothing will ever make that better. But knowing that people did survive and rebuilt and moved on and used their faith in God, used their neighbors, just everyone came together, that helps a lot. If I had $1 for every time I heard someone say, there's still good people out there, it just makes you smile. You asked me earlier what it feels like and what that day felt like. It's changed me to the point that right now, and I'm sure I'm not alone, I can feel that heaviness. I can feel it weighing down, knowing, and I'll never forget it. I didn't witness a tornado. I witnessed the aftermath and the damage that it can do, and we also witnessed the good it brings out in people. Nonetheless, I will never forget what we went through that week, that month, those months.